Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogda Gopalanandana Partho Vatsasudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Mahata Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Yesterday, we had seen the introduction of Mahabharata, the placement of the Gita in the Mahabharata, and also the subject matter of this first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. This chapter focuses upon the fall of Arjuna into his depression or stupa. Two characters that we can see in this first chapter. One is Duryodhana, who is the main person who is really the epitome of adharma, unrighteousness. And we see that he is plagued with anxiety. The other hero is Arjuna, who we will see will eventually fall into a depressed stupa. So between these two characters, we will come to see the psychology of these two very prevalent problems that we have at this point in time, which is anxiety and depression. We have seen that the blind king Dhritarashtra asks his minister Sanjaya to report on what has taken place on this Kurukshetra after day 10. On day 10, the fall of Bhishma Pitamaha takes place. To that, his minister Sanjaya then replies by the explanation or narration of how Duryodhana approaches the teacher Dronacharya. And he has come to Dronacharya at a very inappropriate time. That just when the battle is to be executed, the battle is to be started, action is to take place, then at that point in time, he comes prattling like this little child who is now quite scared and nervous of the situation that is in front of him, seeking support from anyone. Just how that child, when you first send him to his first day in the kindergarten, he's at home, he's very brave and tough and wants to go meet everyone and wants to get away from mom, wants to get away from dad, and wants to show that he can meet new children and go out into the world. And then upon seeing those children, seeing that kindergarten, comes running towards mother. Prattling away. This is exactly the condition of Duryodhana. He's prattling away like a little child that's so scared of the situation. In his blabberings, he has shown or exposed his own inner weaknesses and suspicions towards his own teacher Dronacharya. Because once anxiety comes, actually we are not able to maintain any decorum or pretense. So the true feelings within us start coming out. And they are expressed through our language, our attitudes, and our actions. And Duryodhana has always suspected his teacher Dronacharya of favoring Pandavas. And this suspicion now leaks out. When he said, look at these Pandava army, it is led by Tavashishyena Dhimata. Your most brilliant student only is leading the forces of opposition. So we have seen that the nature of the anxious mind is one that has got suspicion. After that, we had seen that he had enumerated all the various warriors on the enemy camp. And then finally, he now tries to show to his own teacher, wait a minute, we also have some wonderful people with us. We have completed the first 9 verses, now we will see 10th and 11th verse together.
Aparyaptam tadasmakam balabhishmabhirakshitam paryaptam tvidame balam bhimabhirakshitam ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagamavastitaha bhishmamevabhirakshantu bhavantas sarva eva hi.
Now, after realizing that he has been prattling on about the opposition and their greatness, he now tries to reassure the teacher, actually we also have some good people in our camp. And he uses a very interesting word. He says, Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam. Our strength, our army is aparyaptam, led by Bhishma. And their army with Bhima is paryaptam. Now this word in Sanskrit is very interesting because it has 2 meanings which are actually quite different. Paryaptam, it can mean that which is attained or conquered. That which can be attained or conquered. So in that way he's saying our forces are unconquerable. Their forces conquerable. But paryaptam also has another meaning. Where their forces are incomplete. Our forces are complete. But it also shows our own forces can be conquered. They can be conquered by these people. So actually he is looking at his own army, and in one way he is saying, we are aparyaptam. Paryaptam is complete. We are incomplete. They are paryaptam. They are complete. So one way he's saying, we are unconquerable. But in another way, there's a subtle inflection. We are incomplete. They are complete. We are insufficient. They are sufficient. Now never forget, actually, the army of the Kauravas is larger than the army of Pandavas. The army of the Kauravas is 11 regiments. Army of Pandavas, 7 regiments. But he's feeling incomplete. This feeling of being incomplete is also part of what is called the anxious mind. The mind that has anxiety is also one that invariably feels incomplete and insufficient. Is not good enough. And whenever we have this feeling of being incomplete, then we're very worried about, can I achieve this? Can I do this? Will others accept me? All these anxieties come based on a feeling of incompleteness. So when we start tracing the nature of this anxious mind, we will see at some point in time this anxious mind also has this feeling of being incomplete. To overcome this feeling of insufficiency and incompleteness, then actually we have to start noting down our small victories in life. See, many times we overlook our small victories and we only focus on the large achievements. And it's not that you can achieve greatness immediately. Greatness is achieved after years of small achievements peppered with small failures. It is small achievement, small achievement, small achievement, plus failure, plus a few more small achievements, plus failure. And only if a person has persistence and determination, then these small achievements yield the great achievement. The true reward of what that person is seeking. The peak is reached. But the peak is not reached on the first attempt. So many times our failures crush us. They leave us with a sinking feeling, I am not good enough. How many people get the first job they apply for? How many people get the first university course they apply for? It doesn't always happen like that. We have to go through many job interviews before we get that job which we dreamed of. But we become so dejected, and we become lost in our own confidence. We lose confidence because of one failure. And we forget to look at the string of successes that came prior to that. So in life, we have to start noting and remembering the small successes. Large achievements are few and far. But small successes are coming at a regular basis. We forget them. We lose sight of them. And some of these small achievements and successes, they only need to come in the words of appreciation, confidence, a well done and a compliment which comes from a meaningful personality, a mentor, a parent, someone who has seen your growth and development. A few words of kindness, support, encouragement, and congratulations. This itself can be a small achievement. To even earn the respect of your own peers is an achievement. But sometimes we are too fixed on glamour and praise the whole world can bask in. But the respect of your peers, the respect of your mentors, These are actually great achievements, in fact. You may not get the resounding applause of 1,000 people. But if your mentor who has known you for 10 years, 15 years, if he compliments you on your efforts, endeavors, and projects, this is an achievement. And many times these compliments we forget only. And in the minute one criticism comes from that person, that's the thing that sticks in our head, isn't it? How many times our parents, how many times they have petted and patted us, talking about how wonderful we are, even though essentially achieved nothing. So brilliant. He knows how to crawl on the floor. Knows how to talk incoherently. Things are coming out of the mouth. So happy. Parents filled with so many compliments. Well done, good work, you can do it. But one criticism comes. You don't love me. You love my brother more than me. I knew it the whole time. You never supported me. Never. Tears of dejection. Because we have forgotten the kind words of praise and compliment that has been given by a meaningful personality. So to overcome this sense of insufficiency, inadequacy, we have to note down and be very clear about our small victories in life. As you start noting these down, you will realize you are a lot more successful than you yourself give yourself credit for. You are much more successful than what you realize. That gives you the confidence, and with this confidence you can overcome anxiety to face small challenges ahead. Now continuing on, let us see 12th and 13th verse.
Tasya sanjanayan harsham Kuru vriddha pitamaha Simhanadam vinadyochaihi Shankam datmau pratapavan Tata shankascha bhiryascha Panavanaka gomukhaha Sahasaivabhyahanyanta Sashabdastu mulo bhavat.
Now immediately seeing this prattling going on, then Bhishma Pitamaha, now he is Kaurava, Senapati, he is the general of the whole army. And he is seeing this Duryodhana, prattling on like an immature little child, so filled with fear. He immediately just does something very decisive. Feeling the need to instill confidence in the Kaurava army, he takes to action. And what does he do? He blows his conch. Blowing of the conch means now the war is going to begin. Armies are arrayed, conches will be blown, and then war begins. Tasya sanjanayan harsham kuru vriddha pitamaha Bhishma pitamaha Simhanadam vinadyochaihi shankam dadmau pratapavan. Shankam dadmau, he blows his mighty conch. And that brings great happiness to all the Kaurava army. Because they're seeing their own leader begin to falter. Duryodhana, who is the one who's campaigned for this war, he only is faltering. And seeing him faltering, now Bhishma now takes charge. Once Bhishma blows his conch, tata, thereafter, Shankascha Beryascha Pranavanaka Gomukaha, everyone starts blowing their conches. The entire army starts blowing their conches. Kettle drums, the drums are started blaring. All the trumpets started resounding. Sahasa eva, all at one time, abhyanyantaha, sashabdastumulo abhavata, and a great resounding crash and thunder went through the entire camp. Tumula means large resounding, like thunder when it comes. Whole place. Like this very large sound took place, and all of a sudden now the Kauravas are instilled with confidence and ready to act. Now this is a very important also part here, is to show psychology of Duryodhana. Duryodhana is collapsing because of his anxiety. And he needs firm, decisive action and support. That support is now coming from Bhishma Pitamaha. By himself, he's becoming a nervous wreck. He's collapsing now on the battlefield. It is Bhishma Pitamaha who comes to his rescue. To take decisive action so the entire army does not collapse under the impression of this weakened leader in front of them. And this shows that actually in this state of anxiety or depression, it is very important that we have a support network. We must have people that can support us. Take decisive action when we are no longer capable of making intelligent decisions. This is a very interesting aspect of our psychology and communal thinking. Because now our concept of community is essentially gone. And our concept of family is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. Earlier with the concept of extended family, so many people in that house. Now we move towards nuclear family. And nuclear family is having a nuclear reaction is going on. Powerful burst of intense energy taking place in the nuclear family. And now even nuclear family is becoming smaller and smaller. Family is breaking down. Now, we are social creatures. And for any human being to maintain a healthy emotional state, it cannot be achieved by themselves. Every human being needs an emotional support network. And this support network cannot be made up of friends, associates, or acquaintances that meet you only on Facebook. So we have moved now towards the era of social media. And we can't stop social media. It is there, it is very much a part of our own lifestyle now. But we can manage it. And you must be aware of what it gives you, but also what it denies you. Social media is obviously marketed as connecting the whole entire world together. And it is giving us a large breadth of connection. But it has sacrificed a very important thing, and that is depth of connection. We are now connected to more and more people, but superficially. And such superficial connections are not considered to be part of your support network. These are not people who will come to your aid at the time of need. Why? They're living in another country. Isn't it? So they're not the ones who can drive you to a hospital, pick up your child from a school, because you're running late from work. What can they do? But they're the people that we all have WhatsApp groups and are sharing this morning's chocolate cake to people in Hong Kong, London, and America. And we now have considered, I have got more than enough friends. Why? My Facebook has got over 1,000. 1,000! Must be celebrity status close to. What is celebrity status? I know plenty of people all willing to criticize me at the drop of a hat. Celebrity status. Thank you. So we must understand that with our connection with people, do we merely have breadth or do we have depth? How do you know whether or not you have a depth, a sincere connection with a person? The test is this. It is not whether you are willing to share your successes with the person. It is, are you willing to share your failures with a person? That person with whom you can share your failures and disappointments in life and not feel judged by that person, but feel reassured, feel supported, feel acknowledged and comforted. That person is a support. Everyone's Facebook page is that of a superhero, isn't it? Our best photo is put on the front. And all our achievements are listed one after the other. When I graduated from high school, when I got into university, when I got my first job. How come all the jobs you missed are not advertised on your Facebook? Huh? That July 15, 2013, rejected from KPMG, not written. You note how on our Facebook we've only advertised our successes? And people like these things. They like our successes, react to the successes, friend me because of all my successes. But how many of these people can I share the difficulties and struggles that I have in my daily life? I'm waiting to find somebody's Facebook which has them washing dishes in the morning. That should be the profile picture, because that is my real life. It is washing the dishes in the morning in the nightgown, while two children are pulling with food all over their face, dropping on the floor. Husband with a clean shirt, ready to run out the door, pretending he never saw any of this take place. That should be somebody's Facebook page. That's the reality. Huh? But my Facebook page is only me going to wedding reception. Henna, mehndi on the hand. Latest sari, side pose. To show that I look good. But this is not how I wake up in the morning. This is not Mahabharata, you know, the Mahabharata serial from the 1980s, where every queen went to sleep with all their jewelry and got up with all their jewelry. My life is very different. The jewelry is locked away in the bank. And I'm wearing dirty t-shirts. That's it. This is what we have to start measuring. Our support network. How many people do we have around us that we are confident that we can share our failures with in life? Confident that they will be received with sympathy. Confident that I will gain emotional support and understanding. That it will not be taken as a gossip and spread as wildfire to the community. This is the measure of your true support network. It is not how many likes you have or how many WhatsApp groups you are involved in. And invariably, to connect at this level with people, it must be done face to face. It cannot be done electronically. Whenever you have to share something which is very sensitive, you always have to be able to look into the eyes of the other person. You have to read the body language of the person in front of you. You have to have an enclosed environment which creates a sense of privacy and intimacy. This is very meaningful to me. This should not be trivialized. That this is something that moves me or disturbs me. How can I convey the sincerity of this emotion that I'm experiencing? It cannot be done electronically. Therefore, we must learn to maintain face-to-face connections, communications. This is a very obvious point. But you see, without knowing, we are actually moving in the direction of electronic communication. I already said yesterday, many times now, to call a person on a phone creates anxiety for many people. They would rather send a message than talk to you. Then to talk to someone face to face, that creates even more anxiety. So our skills are reducing. And as our skills reduce, the anxiety increases only. The simple thing, use it or lose it. So the more I become comfortable with electronic communication, the more difficult face-to-face will become. Without knowing it, 5 years has passed and you're too nervous to have a sincere conversation with your own family members. You're scared to have that discussion with your teenage daughter and why she is dressing the way she is dressing. Or why your teenage son is so secretive in his room. And every time you walk past, a door gets slammed in your face. And quickly, computer programs are changed. The right keys are hit and the screens are flipped immediately. That conversation is very nerve-wracking to have. So, we must invest in a support network. It is imperative. When times are good, we're happy to have many friends, associates, acquaintances to share our successes with. And it's at that time that we slowly sacrifice our support network. We don't pay attention to them. We get lost in our own glory, our own ambition. And we fail to make sacrifices for these people who need it. Why? I'm too busy. My life is moving ahead with success after success. Therefore, I don't need to connect with you in a meaningful way. I only need to advertise my successes and you acknowledge them, and this is enough. So at the time of success, this is when we sacrifice our support. Then when that support is needed, it's not available. Why? Because in good times you didn't want to meet anyone. And now in bad times you want them to come to your house. Why would they be interested in that? So one exercise we have to do is, you must now mark down who are the people that you would share your failures with in life. Disappointments in life. Your regrets in life. Who are the people you would confide in with these things? And it cannot be restricted only to mother, father, and spouse. Well, we know mother and father cannot be around for all eternity. And we know even spouse after some time, they need a breath of fresh air after listening to daily complaints about your life and how difficult it is to live. Why spouse needs a breath of fresh air? Because if you keep complaining about your life, they feel responsible for your misery. And they don't understand, I'm doing everything to keep you happy, but you're still not happy. So they end up taking it very personally. So spouse takes it very personally, and sometimes that's why they're not able to provide enough objective support. Because their own personal emotions get involved. So we need a support network. 5 friends that you can turn to at these times of regret and disappointment. And one thing is, these friends, it is best that they are of the same gender as you. You should not confide in people of opposite gender. I have a wonderful thing that the youth do nowadays. They share all their problems with people of opposite gender. And then after some time, I say, something happened. And now we feel, I know them inside out. They know me inside out. I think we're right for each other. Yes, in the way you're both disturbed and both having problems, yes, you're very compatible. Highly compatible personalities. But 2 disturbed people are not going to make a successful relationship. Never confide in opposite gender. It only leads to problems. Keep a support network of peers. Can even be mentors and some elders. It's always more effective with of people your own agenda. Okay? So now this is another tip on how to manage anxiety and things. Now you see, Bhishma has stepped in at the critical time, seeing Duryodhana collapse. Bhishma's loyalty is to the kingdom. His heart may be with Pandavas, but his loyalty is to the kingdom. So he has already said, I will fight, and when I fight wholeheartedly for this side. So his support is being pledged to Duryodhana. Okay? Now let us see. In response to the conches being blown by the Kauravas, now what do Pandavas do? Now this comes 14th to 19th verse. 6 verses together.
ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदत्मतुः पाञ्चजन्यं ऋषिकेशो देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः पौण्ड्रं दत्मौ महाशङ्खं भीमकर्मावृकोदरः अनन्तविजयं राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सहदेवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ काश्यश्च परमेश्वासः शिखण्डी च महारथः दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः शङ्खान् दद्मुः पृथक् पृथक् सघोषोधार्तराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यधारयत् नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव तुमुलो व्यनुनादयन्.
So So what did the Pandavas do after Bhishma Pitamaha had sounded the conch? Immediately, Shri Krishna, Madhava, Pandavaschaiva, Divyo Shankau Pradadmatuhu, they immediately blew their conches. Led by Shri Krishna, conches were blown. Sitting in Shvetair Hayed Yukte, Mahati Syandane Stitau, sitting in this glorious chariot, pulled by resplendent white horses. Then Shri Krishna immediately stood up and he took his conch. Shri Krishna's conch, Panchajanyam Rishikesho. And Arjuna's conch, Devadattam Dhananjayaha. And they blew those conches. After that, a whole list of who owned what conch was given. So, if you want to write a thesis on who owned what conch in the Mahabharata, these are the verses to look into. We don't need to go to who owned what conch. But the 19th verse is very important. Sagosha dhatarashtranam hridayani vyadharayata. This terrible sound which resounded of all these conches being blown, hridayani vyadharayata, it rent the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. It rent the hearts of the Kauravas. Nabascha prithvi chaiva tumulo vyanunadayan. Not only amongst Prithvi, the earth, but even in the heavens, Nabascha. They resounded and thundered with this tremendous sound of conches that were blown. Now, previously it said Kauravas also blew their conches. And it said, Sashabdas tumulo bhavate. Sashabda. Shabda means word. Shabda means sound, but even a soft word is also called Shabda. Now you see the word Shabda is not used here. Ghosha. Ghosha means loud proclamation. It is different to Shabda. So when you speak to a person in front of you, then you're using Shabda. But when you speak to a whole huge audience, it's called Ghosha. The sound that came out of the conches had a very different impact. They were not just loud, but they entered into the hearts of the enemy and they created a fear within them. Hridayani vyadharayata. It went right into the hearts of the enemy, and that enemy got a bit scared. This is seen, even in, especially if you see, have you seen these sports matches, this rugby and all that, Now before they do rugby, this New Zealand team, all black, they do one dance in front of their opposition. I don't know what it's called. Haka. And if you see their faces and how they scream and yell, if you're standing in front of them, that is called Hridayani Vyadharayata. You can be world champion, but when that Haka is taking place, Hridayani Vyadharayata, heart is rent. This is exactly what happened to Kauravas. Larger army, but now Pandavas, a smaller army, have blown the conch. That conch is having such tremendous vibration, is entering into the hearts, and it is disturbing and destroying the hearts of their enemies. This is the nature of people who stand for a principle, a belief, and a conviction. When people stand for a conviction, a selfless higher ideal, then a certain metal or steel, a power comes to that person. And in every action, every word, every thought that person has, it has the capacity to influence those around them. The Pandavas are led by Panchajanyam Rishikeshaha. Shri Krishna is leading this. He is the one that took up the conch and blew it. And Shri Krishna is very clear about the purpose of this war. This is not a fratricidal war over money, wealth, and land. This is a war to re-establish dharma on earth. Dharma samstharpanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And now Shri Krishna feels the very phala, the fruit, the acme of his entire avatar is about to take place. The purpose why I was incarnated is now about to take place. And he is excited. And with this conviction, all of a sudden, he leads this blow of conscience. This is something we have to understand. Many times in life, we are talking, no one is listening. We are acting, no one is noticing. We're trying to be good people, but we feel it has got no impact on others. We're trying to serve others, but we find that in that service of others, nothing is happening, no one is changing. And many times, when we come to deeply analyze our own motives behind it, what we find is our action is bereft or devoid of a higher, sincere purpose. Sometimes it is done because everyone else is doing it, therefore I should do it. It is a fad, a trend, and therefore we do it. But do we know why we are doing that? And first of all, do we even have a higher calling or purpose in life? Yesterday I mentioned the difference between purpose and goal. The goal is what you want to achieve, the purpose is why. It is purpose which gives you power. It's not the size of your goal. It's the sincerity and selflessness of your purpose. That gives you power, persistence, determination, and all the qualities required to achieve great things. But it is purpose that is needed. Our higher purpose in life must be one that turns away from me and turns towards the upliftment of others. It has to shift away from the focus of what do I gain from this. And I have to move in the direction of how can others benefit from this. Many times we are raised with very selfish goals, big as they may be, but essentially they are meant for our own aggrandizement, personal achievement, and standing on our own pedestal to show the rest of the world what I have achieved. But have we embraced a higher cause? One where we can serve the needs of others rather than serve the desires of ourselves. When you can tap into a higher selfless cause, then all of a sudden things start changing within you. The alignment of your higher ideal held in your intellect, it starts harmonizing with the whims and fancies of the mind, which then energizes the activities of the body. But when there is no higher ideal and it's just me, When we find that our goals in life are very me-orientated, what happens to the mind? The mind has got no stamina. Because for me, I will try this much. After that, I'm not willing to do anymore. It's too much work. It's not worth it. When a goal is driven just for oneself, it is very easy to throw in the towel and quit. Because the only person affected is me. It's very easy to secretly give that up. Like some people take up sadhana, but they don't want to tell anyone else their sadhana. Sadhana means a spiritual practice, some prayer, puja, worship. But they keep it to themselves. Why they keep it to themselves? So that if it collapses, no one else knows about it. Secretly, I can give it up. But actually, once you start thinking of welfare of others, all of a sudden, your perspective changes, your inspiration changes. Your inspiration is not about your own personal gratification, name and fame. It is about the welfare of others. Once you start connecting to the welfare of others, the needs of others, all of a sudden, the petty problems in my life become completely reduced into tiny little patches of dust swept away. But when the focus is purely on me, then even we make mountains out of molehills. Smallest little problem is exaggerated tenfold. Why? Because it happened to me. I went to the shopping center. No parking. 20 minutes I drove. And I saw one, and then I went, and when I went there, another lady came, and she went. I don't know what these people are. They got no respect for anyone. They don't follow any courtesy, don't follow any manners, any behavior, any decorum. And is it, we always look at that person to find out where they're from. And then once we find out where they're from, what race, ethnicity, these people are all like that. They're all like that. The problem is that person belongs to your community, it's the problem. They're in a bit of a conundrum. But you see how we blow up small things? Not getting a car park can be something to disturb our entire day. We've labeled the entire race of people in the meantime. Decided to wage a personal war against those people. And they got on our Facebook and blogged about the experience. My morning drive. You won't believe what happened. Yesterday I talked about making things into catastrophes. Using the language of catastrophe. How a small, simple incident gets blown up to an unmanageable crisis, which demands urgent attention from everyone around. But the actual problem is so minuscule, so small and so petty, but it has been projected into this large, amplified into this large catastrophe. This is what happens when we're only self-focused. Once you start serving other people's welfare, all of a sudden you don't have time and energy to waste on blowing up your own personal problems in life. And they're not even problems, they're actually inconveniences. We take inconveniences and we expand them into crisis. The field of service is very powerful in reducing and shrinking our own problems in life. And therefore, we all must engage in some form of service. As a protection to our own mind. That may my mind not lose perspective in life. And may I not take my inconveniences and turn them into catastrophes and then personally suffer because of them. Other people cannot empathize with such a person because they have taken something so small and blown it up. So you lose the sympathy of others. You lose the patience of others, and finally you're left by yourself to deal with this inconvenience. Once you start serving others, then all of a sudden the intellect turns away from self-centered goals and starts turning towards selfless goals. And our intellect thirsts to do this actually. Our higher intellect is yearning to be connected with the totality. It is yearning to be connected with the totality. The total mind, the total mood, the total health of whether it is a community, a nation, mankind. It is yearning to be connected with something larger. And that's why when the intellect is only focused on itself, it gets bored, dissatisfied. That's why it gives up. But once it is connected to this higher, much larger and vaster vision of life, it becomes inspired. It finds a new energy and dynamism. All of a sudden, the things which I thought I could not do, I am now willing to attempt. Earlier I said, no chance, I cannot do it. Now a ray of hope has entered, I will try. A classic example of this is in our own Chinmaya mission. Whenever we run our Chinmaya mission, and of course, we have our Bal Vihar classes. And our Bal Vihar class is the children's classes. And largely the children's classes are taught by mothers actually. We train them, give them a syllabus, and then they start, supervise them and they start teaching. But nearly every mother you approach to teach Bal Vihar, they will all start by saying, I can't do this. I have 2 children and they stand on my head. They dance on my head like Krishna and Kali Mardana. These 2 Krishnas are dancing on my head continuously. How can I handle a classroom of 20 children? Okay. So I tell them, okay, you don't want to do, or you feel you can't do, okay. But what it means is, there won't be anyone to teach the children. So the children have to miss out on me. Oh, children miss out? What can we do? There's no teacher. Children should not miss out. I will try. You have some syllabus? Give me syllabus. I will try. You train me? I will try. Let me start sitting in on the class. And I will see if I can start teaching. Then all of a sudden, as they see the joy in the face of the children, then they realize from reading the story, and Ramchandraji went with his brother Lakshman and Sita, and they went to, where did they go? Forest. I haven't read this story before. I didn't know. So they first start by reading the story out, page by page. Then after some time, they realize children like it a bit more. There's some actions. Then you have to say, Ramchandraji, broad chest, long mighty arms, carrying cord and bow and arrow. And the boys look up. And Lakshman, So devoted, such a devoted, loyal servant. Ooh, and such beautiful poise and demure. She followed. Ooh. Now when you tell like this, the children's eyes light up even more. And as that mother starts seeing their eyes light up, she starts putting more and more effort into this. She prepares more. She starts memorizing the story so she doesn't need a book. She starts seeing hand gestures. She looks at activities that the children can do. They can make a bow, make an arrow. Oh, very exciting. She adds drama to the entire story. And next thing you know, children are immersed in the Ramayana. They feel like they are in Ayodhya at the time. That mother now, all of a sudden has transformed. And if you sit in on her class, my God, I have sat in on some of the classes and I want to be a child in their class. I want to sit and listen because they tell the story so well. That confidence which is coming from within them is touching the heart of others. It is connecting at such a deep level with the people around them because they have tapped into a higher ideal, something more meaningful, something that is selfless, and all of a sudden this energy, inspiration is flowing into them, into their heart, into their mind, and out through their hands and words. Their behavior, their conduct, their words and their thoughts contain a secret power now. A power to enter into the hearts of the listeners. This is the power that the Pandavas possessed with Shri Krishna blowing the conch. They possess this secret power to enter into the hearts of all those around. Each and every person has the potential and the capacity to invoke such inspiration and power into your life. And with such power, you can touch the hearts of thousands, but it need not even be thousands. To merely touch the hearts of those around you, that itself is a great reward and achievement. To have a son that looks up to you with respect and admiration, because my father was a man of principle. To have children that admire you for what you stand for, not what you earned. That is one of the greatest victories in life. That's why our Adi Guru is who? Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava. But are we worthy of being gods in front of our children? Just to have that level of integrity, this is a mighty war that you have won. In this way, we must turn our energies and invest some of our time, energy, and resources into a selfless cause, a cause of contribution. This must become part of each and every person's life. And parents must teach children that it is not just marks you must chase, accolades we must post on the wall. They must have a heart that is willing to serve and care for the community they live in. Otherwise, our journey become very incomplete, and then we find around us surrounded by weak-minded personalities, each person chasing their own private ends. Is this the neighborhood you want for your children? Is this the community you want for your children? Is this the society you want for your children? That each and every person cannot be trusted. Why? Each and every one is out for their own good. We have to start by making that change. We ourselves must start by serving others. This is the power the Pandavas had over the Kauravas. And that's why you see, Nabascha Prativim Chaiva Tumulo Ganunari Hridayani Vyadarita. It's a very different sound to Shabda that the Kauravas made. Okay? Now conches have been blown, and now the narration continues, and the next sequence of verses 20 to 27 is very important narration in this chapter.
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदमाह महीपते सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युत यावदेतान्निरीक्षेऽहम् योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे योत्स्यमानानवेक्षेऽहम् ययेतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धे युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम् भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति तत्र पश्य स्थितान् पार्थः पितृनत पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखीस्तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान् कृपया परयाविष्टो विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत् अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनम्.
This is enough. There's a few breaks in the verses because Arjuna Uvacha and Sanjay Uvacha is taking place. So here the narration continues on. Pandavas have blown the conch and now Arjuna is feeling confident. And now Arjuna, he then tells Shri Krishna is his charioteer, Senayor madhye ratam stapya me achyuta, hey Achyuta, now take my ratha, my chariot, and placed it in the middle of these two armies. Why? Yavadetan niriksheham yoduka manavastitam. I desire to see all those that wish to fight. Kairmaya sahayodavyam asmin ranasmudyame. Those who desire to fight with me, I wish to seek and have a look at all these people. Yotsyamana naveksheham yetetra samagataha datarashtrasya durbuddhe yuddhe prachakirshyaha. These people of Dhritarashtra who are durbuddhis, durbuddhi, wicked people. I wish to see all these people, these wicked people of Dhritarashtra that have come here to fight against me. Oh, giving such loud, confident proclamation. Oh, Bhagavan was very happy to hear this. And Bhagavan does something very strategic, a little bit sneaky. Wonderful, he says. Bhagavan takes his chariot, Senayor Vayor Madhye, Stapayitva Ratottamam, the best of chariots, he puts in the middle of these armies. But he does something very interesting. Where does he put in front? Bhishma Drona Pramukataha Sarvesham Chamahikshitam. He puts Arjuna directly in front of Bhishma and Drona. Then he says something very innocent. So Bhagavan is innocent. He Partha, Vacha Partha Pashyaitan, Samavetan Kurhumniti. Hey Partha, look at all these Kurus in front of you. That's it. A lot of Kurus here. I see Bhishma. You see Bhishma? I see Bhishma. He's waving. I think way back. Drona is also way back. Oh. Now this very strategic action that is taken place by Bhagavan then creates the entire collapse of Arjuna. Arjuna now seeing the grandsire of the Kurus and his beloved teacher Dronacharya standing in front of them, all of a sudden his heart is overwhelmed by mixed emotions. And he now looks upon these warriors with this heart filled with confused emotions. And what does he see? Oh, Pitrun, I see fathers. Pitamaha, grandfathers. Acharyas, my teachers. Maturan, the uncles. Bratrun, brothers. Putran, sons, Potran. Grandsons are also there. Swashuran, in-laws, Suradas, well-wishers. I see all these people, Senayor Vayor Api, they are now stationed here in the midst of this battle. Having seen this, Tam Samiksha Sakaunteya, Sarvan Bandhun, all these bandhus, relatives, people that are intimately related and connected to him. Having seen them arrayed in front of him, Kripaya Paraya Vishto Vishidhan Idam Abravit. He now collapses. Overwhelmed by self-pity. Kripaya Paraya Vishta, completely overwhelmed. And Vishidhan, depression. Dejection, despondency, collapse. All this took place. Now you see in these verses, he went there so proudly commanding Shri Krishna. Senayor Vayor Madhye Ratam Stapaya Mechuta. Hey Krishna, put me in the middle of these and let me see who is there. And then Bhagavan put him Bhishma Drona Pramukata. and then just said, Pasha Kuruniti. Look at these Kurus. And then all of that collapsed. Well, Now, this is a very important and a very interesting part of this entire chapter 1. Because this is the turning point. That Shri Krishna has not done this as a means to torment Arjuna. He has not placed him in a situation to harass him. But in fact, he is trying to sharpen him. He is trying to test him. He's trying to test his own weaknesses at this point in time. Arjuna, you are about to enter into the biggest battle in the history of this kingdom. You will have to fight people that are near and dear to you. Do you have what it takes, Arjuna? And Shri Krishna, because he wants to see Arjuna tested. And why tested? Why does he want to? Is it a cruel test? No. Only when something is tested can its quality be assured. Is it not? In all fields, anything you pick up, whether food, quality assured. Whether it's an instrument you have to use for your work, somebody should have done testing on that. With the testing they do, what are they trying to do? Find the bugs and eliminate them, isn't it? Before they launch any website, then they invite various hackers to come and test the website to see whether or not it can be crashed. Why are they doing? I worked so hard to build the website, this man comes in and destroys it. Is to test how robust it is. This is the very nature and purpose of life. Life is here to push us to evolve to the state of perfection. It is not here to punish or crush us. And these tests which come in life appear to be punishments. They appear to torment. They appear to harass. They appear to be catastrophes. But in reality, they are here to make us stronger. They are here to push us towards a higher state of evolution. And from that state of evolution, perfection. But no perfection can be attained unless the instrument is tested. How do you purify a metal? You have to melt it. Subject it to pressures and heats that are intolerable. But in subjecting it to such heat, you separate the gross impurities from its true nature and swabhav. Its purity shines forth and its impurities are burned away. This is the nature of how anything is purified, tested, strengthened. Is only by putting it through a situation which appears to be difficult and problematic. Arjuna was a confident warrior to face who? Dhatarashtrasya durbuddhe. He was happy to face the wicked-minded sons of Dhritarashtra. But he was not comfortable facing the affection of Bhishma and Drona. Which means he was happy to act when it was emotionally convenient. And when it was not emotionally convenient, he wants to withdraw. Which means he is not perfected. He still has some weakness within him. It is that weakness within him which only is expressing in the situation outside. There's a beautiful thing here. Shri Krishna only brings his chariot into this strategic position to test Arjuna. And who is Shri Krishna? Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Shri Krishna Jagat Gurum. Now word Jagat Guru means two things. One who is Guru of Jagat, teacher of the entire universe. Jagat Guru also means the universe itself is your teacher. Jagat Eva Guru. That means the universe is a university. And we are all here to learn various lessons, not about the world, but about ourselves. Shri Krishna represents this universal intelligence which is guiding, facilitating, moving each and every creature towards a deeper understanding of themselves so they can attain perfection. Shri Krishna Jagat Gurum has now taken Arjuna and put him in the one place he is going to be uncomfortable. But it was deliberate, it was strategic, and it was an act of benevolence and kindness, not of cruelty. This is something we have to understand about life. We face many problems in life, and with a weak mind, anxious mind, depressed mind, it is very easy to turn around and say, why me? Why is this happening to me? But in fact, the universe has deliberately, strategically brought that situation to you and you alone. Why? To help you understand yourself. Many times problems outside of us, we register problems outside of us, or we register distress, disturbance, sorrow as being caused by a problem outside of us. We feel uncomfortable in a situation, we feel disturbed by a situation, we feel stressed by a situation. And we feel that the situation is the cause of my negative attitude, mood, or disturbance. We label the situation, blame the situation. We then try to escape from the situation, or we confront and fight with the situation. But rarely do we accept the situation. In order to truly accept a situation that is causing distress to you, you have to first recognize that the situation is nothing but a projection of a confusion within. All life's situations are nothing but projections of what is happening within us. When we have a heart which is filled with love, nobility, and clarity, life is nothing but success and achievements. But when we have a heart that is filled with selfishness, narrow-mindedness, and conflict, we find that we have many enemies, obstacles, and problems outside. The world outside is nothing but a reflection of what is happening inside. In the garden, you have seen, we plant beautiful plants, but in between the plants will always come weeds. And many people, they just pull the head off the weeds. Because if you pull the head of the weed, the garden then looks nice again. The weed is gone. So you just take the head, rip it off. But any skilled gardener knows this is not how to approach the situation, right? Below the surface is the real problem. Below the surface is the seed. Above the surface is the weed. Our outside problems are weeds. And we are trimming, cutting. But they are stemming from our inner seeds. Seeds of insufficiency, seeds of selfishness, seeds of ego. Our journey in life is actually to turn within and start recognizing what these seeds are. This is called self-knowledge, understanding oneself. To recognize where my own weaknesses are. And as I come to recognize my weakness, I will see how they play out outside in this world to become problems, confusions, and conflicts. Now I'll give you some examples of how an internal thought or feeling then plays out to be an external situation. Some people always have a feeling that everyone takes advantage of me. I'm a good person. I help everyone. But I'm a doormat. People come, they take their shoes, they wipe on my face, they wipe on my back, they wipe on my clothes. They walk on me, stomp on me, go and they come. And I feel like I'm a doormat. And even though I serve them with this feeling of bitterness, resentment, stress. But in such a situation where you feel so overworked, so taken advantage of, what actually is the thought that is the problem? I don't have the confidence to say no to anyone. Because I lack the confidence to say no to someone, anyone asks me anything, I agree. And where do I find myself? Overcommitted and under-delivered. Then I find everyone is upset with me. Even when I'm trying to please all these people. Why are they so upset? I'm saying yes to all their requests. But everyone is upset. So my problem outside is that people are not happy with me. They get upset with me. They're disappointed with me. I see it in their eyes. Why are they disappointed with me? Because I say yes to everything, but I fail to deliver. I don't know how to measure my own capacity and time. And essentially, I don't have the confidence to say no to another request. So I am asked to be everywhere, at all places, at all times. And I agree to this. This internal seed only is projecting as this problem outside. Problem of disappointing people continually. Another one. Another seed. I feel I am smarter than everyone here. I'm not talking about myself. But at office sometimes you're in a room and you feel everyone is just incompetent because you are the most technically proficient person in the room. You know, these people don't know where they got their degrees from. But he's my manager only. Now, when you have this feeling that I am smarter than everyone else, then it will project as a problem and a feeling that everyone else is so stupid. Everyone around me is so unintelligent, so incompetent, can't do anything. And there's a feeling, I have to do everything here. They don't know how to do anything. So we go around telling everyone else is incompetent. I only have to do everything. Manager is there, getting paid more than me as well. But I only know how to fix all the problems. He doesn't know what to do. But the minute I fix it, he takes my solution and tells the rest of the group. And I get very upset. So I have a feeling that everyone else around me is incompetent. And that's because within me there's a seed of arrogance that I am smarter than everyone else in the room. Other people, another thought that also traps us. I must be in charge. This is called the control freak personality. I must be in charge of anything. This person has a lot of problems with anyone else who wants to take charge. Anyone else who wants to call the shots, make a decision. This person will be very threatened by that personality. And they'll feel that this other person is dominating. This person is trying to take control, trying to usurp the power here. But why are they feeling this very strong seed that I must be in charge of everything? So before we go and label the world, blame it for all our problems, we must start a true investigation of what is happening upstairs. Because most of the time we are projecting problems, crisis, catastrophe purely because there is some weakness within us. An unknown blemish, a fixation on a particular thought. I must be in charge, I must be the smartest person here, I must be the most loved person in the room. I must be the person who has all the attention in the room. So I speak the loudest and tell the most jokes at anyone's expense, including my wife. I pay for it privately. But it was worth the public applause. So when I yearn for that public attention, then anyone and everyone around me can be a subject to my wry humor. Isn't it? And this is because I crave the attention of others. Some people crave the approval of others. Some people crave control of others. These cravings and thirsts are actually our own weaknesses. These only are projected externally and become problems. This is exactly what Shri Krishna has done to Arjuna. He wants to show Arjuna that actually you have a seed and a blemish within you. Therefore, he is bringing him into this strategic position. So in this way, what do we learn from this? We have to learn to reorientate our attitude towards problems. Stop seeing problems as being caused by the world outside and start recognizing that problems are manifestations of some maladjustment in my own thinking. An incorrect attitude, a selfish motive, a closed heart, a fear and insecurity. It is these only that are projecting as threats and problems. There's a beautiful acronym for problems. This is something you should note down and memorize. This is how you have to change your attitude. What are problems? Purposeful roadblocks, offering beneficial lessons to enhance mental strength. Purposeful purposeful roadblocks, offering beneficial lessons. The two has to put in bracket. Enhance mental strength. That's why problems come to us. And that's why Shri Krishna has deliberately put in there, because it is purposeful, meaningful. So, this now begins the collapse of Arjuna. And tomorrow we will then see the specific signs and symptoms of his depression. And a lot of tips and techniques on how we can observe, watch and overcome this within ourselves. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om